Hello. Hey guys, welcome to Core Guides. And today in this session, we'll discuss the topic user defined function and we'll see how they are useful and how we can implement them in the next part of the session. So, first of all, user defined functions, we'll start with the definition. Since it is inconvenient to continue on the same line and the function becomes longer, it is much better to build the habit of playing the instruction for the new line with an indent again. So good legibility counts for a good style of coding. So user defined functions are basically which is used to build your own tools with custom functions, and Python has basically many built-in functions, but sometimes we need to create our own. Okay, and these are called the user defined functions, and they help us to write cleaner, reusable, and more organized code or program. Now in programming, return regards the value of y, and it just says to the machine after the operations executed by the function f, return to me the value of y. Return plays a connection between the sound and the third step of the process. In other words, a function can take an input of one or more variables and return the single output composed of one or more values, and this is why return can be used only once in a function. So basically, function with a parameter is just now first of all you start with a function. Function is a block of code that runs only when you call it. Okay, so it takes the input, and inputs are here are called as parameter and returns an output. Now it helps reduce repetition in your code. While creating a function with a parameter, we now as you can see here, we have created a plus 10 name function where a is a parameter or the input which we are passing, and then we are returning a plus 10. So def is the keyword to define the function. Then we have the function name, that is the plus 10, that is the name you give to the function. And here we can hold parameter. So we can pass multiple parameters here. We have just passed there a. I can pass another parameter, comma b. And after this symbol, we basically start the function block. And indentation is very much important in Python. So after pressing enter after the symbol, we'll start from here, and that is the proper indentation method in while dealing with function with a parameter. Now as you can see here, we can call this function again and again. Okay, so here I have for this function calling, I have passed 2 as a parameter. Again I have passed the 5 parameters. It is just adding. Okay, a plus 10. So what will be the a? So here we have 2 plus 10, so we got 12. We passed input parameters at 5, so 5 plus 10 equal to 15. So that is a function with a parameter. So don't forget to return a value from the function. We will need a plus 10a to do a specific calculation for us and not just print. Some pay attention to the following when we define a function. We specify an parameter in the plus 10 function is the parameter. So that is the basic explanation which we have seen earlier. Now we'll see creating functions containing a few arguments. So you can call the function for say like 10, comma 3, comma 2 and 2, and you will get 4. So just be careful with the order in which you set the values. In this case, we assign 10 to the variables a, 3 to b, and 2 to c. So here we have a comma b comma c as the parameter for a function. Okay. Now this is a particular function for subtract bc where the input parameters were a comma b comma c. After calling the function, what we have passed, for a value we have passed 10, for b value we have passed 3, and for c value we have passed 2. That is the creating function containing a few arguments of multiple arguments. Now when we have to shuffle the places, okay, so now instead of first of all passing a, I want to pass b. So we need to specify the value which we are passing. So I want b equal to 3, I want a equal to 10, and I want c equal to. So this order also matters. So whenever I'll pass here a first value, not specifying the variable or the input parameter, it will be naturally seen as a value, because while defining the function we mentioned a comma b comma c, right? So whatever will be the first value will be considered as a value. And if you want to change the order, then we need to specify the variables or the input parameters also. At the first I want to pass b, so I'll specify b equal to 3, then I will specify comma a equal to 10, and then I'll specify c equal to. So that is the function which I'm talking about. So this is the function, and I have passed a comma b comma, and result I have passed the operation where a minus b into c, and I have written the result. Next is using a function in another function. So it isn't a secret, we can have function within the function. And basically, suppose we have two functions. Now we have wage, our input parameters is r, and second function is with bonus. So here what we'll do, here we return r into 25 for wage, and what we are returning here, we are calling this function which is the wage, and then we are passing plus 50 for the bonus part. So we can call a function in another function, or we can use a function inside another function. That is the use case. Now last, we'll see the differences between the print and return. The print function displays output directly to the console for user visibility, and the return statement sends the specified value out of a function, making it available for a further computation or assignment. Print is primarily for informational display, whereas return is essential for passing data between different parts of a program. We can summarize it as print basically shows the result on screen, and return basically sends result back to caller. In case of the output handling, output is visible for the print statement, and in case of return, it can store in a b in a variable. And examples we can say for print is print x, and for return is return x. Now the main part is why we should use the user defined function. So first of all, we have advantage like reusable code. You can call function many times instead of writing a particular lines of code multiple times. We just need to create a function for a particular task and just call the function. So that is the reusable code. Then it is easier to debug, and it organizes logic clearly, and it avoids repetition. So in case of summary, we can say that functions make Python code more organized and powerful, and we can use parameters to make them flexible. We can pass multiple input parameters for a function according to the parameters which were defined while creating the function, and we can choose return if we want to use the result later also. And you can build complex logic by combining also functions. We can call a function inside a function. So that is the overall view of the user defined functions. I hope you guys understood. Now we are finished with the theoretical representation using the slide. Now we'll move towards the implementation part on Google Colab. So let's move on.